What's up? I'm Justin Barcia, professional Supercross racer. This is the American Athlete. There's not a whole lot hidden in this sport. You can see pretty much everything, which I think that's another reason it's really exciting, because the fans can see everything. My first taste of the sport really was my dad rode for fun in New York. That's where I grew up. And I had a little mini bike that I would just ride in the yard every day at school. And then as I grew up and got more into it and better racing, I went to a Supercross in Atlanta, Georgia. And that's when I was like, this is what I want to do. And I was probably maybe 14, 15 then. So yeah, it's pretty rad. I don't want to say it came easy to me, but I feel like it just went really easy, and it was like fitted me really well. I just kind of, was racing amateur stuff, traveling around with, just me and my dad, hitting races, and then I just kept progressing and getting better and better and better. Ended up signing with a factory team. Next thing I knew it, I was 14, 15 racing amateur races, and then 16 years old, I was racing professional, and it was like, it just felt like, a light switch going from amateurs to professional. And then instead of driving in the motorhome to all races, we were on an airplane every weekend, flying to the race, having a big team there. So it could have been overwhelming, but for me, it just felt really natural. And I mean, that was 2009. It feels like yesterday when I started professional racing. It goes by extremely fast, but still feel young at heart and still loving it as much as I loved it in 2009. Definitely a new challenge every weekend. So for instance, on East Coast, you get a little bit more sticky dirt, more like ruts that grab the tires. So you kind of go out there the first practice session, you need to see, okay, is this tire working? Is this tire not working? And then it comes down to little things like air pressure, like go up a PSI or two on the front tire or the rear tire to adapt to the certain dirt. And then when you come on West Coast, the dirt's a lot more hard pack, so you might lower the tire pressure. And then also suspension, or sometimes you need to soften it a little bit. So there's just a million variables that go into every weekend on dirt conditions. And then if the jumps are really steep or mellow, because if the jump's really steep, you have to have a little stiffer suspension. Like, it sounds a little bit overwhelming, but for us, we do it every weekend, and you'll be the best guy if you can adapt really quick and have a really good, comfortable bike. It's a really good feeling when you're connected with all the conditions and the bike and the comfort and stuff. It's pretty cool. Hard to explain if you haven't been to a Supercross race. We go up before the race, we have the opening ceremonies, the lights, the fireworks, the videos. I don't want to say like a party, but it's pumped up, adrenaline rushing, and us racers get addicted to is that adrenaline because it's such a thrill. With being back here in the Coliseum, there's a lot of excitement to it, obviously. There's obviously gonna be a ton of fans here, but also like the track is quite unique. It goes up into the stands, kind of goes up high, and there's a lot of history here, so that's exciting. And I know all the racers, like me and everyone else, are really excited to get out there and bang bars and get after it. The start is key. If you can get out front early and get at least in the top 3, 4, 5, like, it's so important to stay out of the carnage, because when I say carnage, like, you have 20 guys off the line, it's just a small track, so you can't fit that many bikes into the little track. So getting the whole shot off the gate is absolutely huge. Like, that's the #1 thing we work on. Like, practicing, you have to start on a metal grate now, so you practice the launches, and the biggest thing obviously is the timing. When the gate falls, you need to time that perfect. You have to pick the right gate. Like, there's certain guys you don't want to line up next to, or like, say one guy's a really good starter, you don't want to be right next to him because he could get the jump and cut you off. I think for me though, I'm actually quite a good starter. I like, throughout this season, I've been getting better and better at my starts. And if you can get out front easy and get in your own groove and get in the pace right away, it just makes the race so much easier. You don't have to pass guys and worry about bumping into someone or anything like that. So yeah, putting yourself in the right position early on in the race is super important. People sometimes think that it's super easy, you just hit the throttle and that's it. But man, there's so much. We practice nonstop, we test a lot. So a lot of people that don't know about the sport think like you just ride the dirt bike, but we have to be super fit, super strong. So like, for instance, I'm only probably 4 weeks back from double collarbone surgery, and like, I lost 10 to 12 pounds of muscle in that time. Coming back, it's super difficult to be strong enough to hold on to that bike for the whole race. So the last few weeks, it's been super challenging for me to like adapt to. I feel like a different rider a little bit now that I lost all my muscle that I had in the beginning of the season. So like, you have to be so strong, and then obviously you have to have that cardio to go the long distance. I think that's the biggest thing people don't see, is how like gnarly athletes we have to be. If we had a perfect scenario, you get the whole shot, you make no mistakes, you're the fastest, and yeah, you win the race. Like sometimes the announcers do keys to the race and it's like, they're always like, oh yeah, get the start, like get the whole shot. Like obviously like the start is definitely a big key, but then it's also like hitting your marks, clearing the jumps perfect, making no mistakes. Like there's so many things that go into winning a race. It's not easy at all, but sometimes we make it look easy, but it's never easy.